most Wednesdays. I sat down this morning with Susan and we're planning out a trip for the summer, and it looks like we're going to be in London sometime in the end of July or the beginning of August for a couple of days. We're going to do a family trip, but I'll have some time to hang out with you guys. So I'm looking forward to that. Okay. So the reason I'm here today is because I have alcoholism. I have a disease. It's not alcohol, it's alcoholism. And the disease it's bad when I drink, and it's bad when I don't drink. And I thought that stopping drinking was going to make it really good. And that wasn't my experience. What I found is that at first it got really good. I wasn't crashing cars. I wasn't spending all my money on drugs and alcohol. I was getting along better with people because they were excited that I was sober. And then, as time passed, all that excitement wore off on everybody, including me. And I was spending money on stuff I shouldn't have been spending money on again. Not drugs and alcohol, but just stuff. I don't even know where it went. It was just gone. I never had any money. I always spent more than I had. And I started to find fault with my life again, in every area of my life, until it got excruciatingly painful to be sober. And, with 3.5 years of sobriety, I wanted to kill myself. A lot of days. And I didn't know what was wrong with me, so I went to more meetings because I thought meetings would treat my alcoholism. And I would go to meetings, and when I was in the meeting, I would feel better. And when I was talking about myself, I would feel better. And sometimes if your story was worse than the way I was feeling at the time, I would feel better. But for the most part, it was feeling better in meetings, and then there was the excruciating 24 hours between meetings. And then, I went to 2 meetings a day, and I was still feeling pretty terrible. And then I went to 3 meetings a day, and that's pretty much, if you have to have a job to pay the bills, 3 meetings is pretty much all I could squeeze in as far as trying to treat my disease. And I tried that for a while, and then and then people were talking about lengths of time, The first year is the hardest. That's what they told me. Then I got the first year and they said, well, really, the second year is the hardest. And then there was a guy talking about, well, you're still a newcomer till you're 5 years. And oh, man. So I thought this is going to happen in time. I'm going to stay sober. I'm going to go to a meeting every day because I feel terrible. And in time, enough time will pass and then I'll feel good. And that was the plan. And at 3.5 years sober, like I said before, I was not getting better. I was getting worse and worse and worse. And I wanted to kill myself. And I started to hate meetings and people in meetings. And I didn't know what was wrong with me. And I could find very little relief and very little happiness in anything that was happening in my life, even though I had a great life. I had a job. I had an apartment. I had a girlfriend. I lived in Los Angeles, which was my dream. And none of it fixed what was wrong with me. And not drinking wasn't fixing what was wrong with me. It was making me worse, and I didn't know what was going on. And I met my sponsor, my last sponsor, and his name was Ted. And Ted said that I have a disease and it has nothing to do with alcohol. And going to meetings is good, but going to meetings doesn't treat the disease. And reading the book is good, but reading the book doesn't treat the disease. And he said, you don't even know what the disease is. He says, you don't even know why you're going to AA. Tell me why you go to AA. And I said, I went to AA because I need to stop drinking. And he said, no, that's not why you're in AA. And he said, I'm in AA because I have a disease and that disease needs a treatment. I didn't even know what he was talking about. I thought the treatment was meetings, and I'd worked all 12 steps and I talked to newcomers and I thought I was treating it. I didn't even know what it was. And so he started explaining it to me because I thought it was alcohol. And I thought if I wasn't drinking alcohol, that the disease was treated. And he said, no, that the disease centers in my mind. It doesn't center in alcohol. And that alcohol was the treatment for my disease. When my mind would get bad and I would get into grave emotional and mental disorders in my mind, that I could drink alcohol, and somehow that helped me in the moment that I was in to be okay with the girl I was with and the job that I had and the kids that I was dealing with or whatever it was in my life. The alcohol made it okay. And then eventually I used the alcohol too much and it turns on me, and I'm now allergic to alcohol, so I can never drink alcohol again. So my treatment is done and I still have the same problems. I have a mind, an unsatisfiable, fault-finding, opinionated mind that drives me. My mind is the power for my life.